Hello, everyone, and welcome to Who Are You Wednesday? I'm Jessica, and today I have a question for you. Can you think of a time where you had to be brave, even when you weren't sure what would happen? Today, we're looking at Esther, a young woman who had to step up and be courageous to save her people. Her story teaches us that confidence isn't about being fearless, it's about trusting God and doing what's right, even when we're scared. Today's affirmation is I am confident. Repeat after me. I am confident. I'm going to give you a background on Esther. Esther was an orphan who was raised by her cousin Mordecai. She was a Jewish girl living in Persia. So the king in Persia dethroned his queen because she did not obey his command. So he figured it's time to get me a new one. And he chose Esther. She did not expect to become queen, but God had a bigger plan for her. Yep. So I want you to think about it. Sometimes we end up in situations we didn't plan, but God can definitely use them for our good. So confidence isn't about knowing everything. Sometimes it's about trusting that God is working behind the scenes. So Esther's cousin Mordecai would go outside of the gates in Persia of I want to say the of the where the king was. And in that culture, it was known that they would have to bow before the king and things of that nature. But Mordecai did not. Mordecai stuck to his morals and values of his religion, of him being a Jew. And Haman did not like that. He felt like it was disrespectful for the man to keep his cultural practices in another culture. So Haman figured, by the way, Haman was a high ranking official in the empire court, the Persian Empire. So he had access to the king and he would let the king know certain things. So once Haman realized that Mordecai, or felt that Mordecai was being disrespectful, he made a decree, presented it to the king to kill the Jews on a specific day. And he convinced the king to sign it, and the king signed it. So once Mordecai got wind of the plot and the plan, Mordecai told Esther that she needed to go to the king and ask for help. Even though Esther was afraid, number one, because if you go to the king without permission, it could mean death. But Mordecai reminded Esther that God put her in position for a reason. Sometimes we're the only ones that can make a difference in some situations. Like in Esther's situation, she was the only Jew that was the queen or in the courts. So, her being the only Jew, she was the only one that could really convince the king, to overturn the decree. So, in this sense, Esther had to have the confidence to step up, even when it was risky, because she trusted God's plan. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to do the right thing, even when it was hard? That's what Esther had to do. So, Esther had to use strategy. So, Esther fasted for 3 days, no food, no water. After that, she went before the king, and instead of the king punishing her for coming to him, he listened to her. She explained to him the plan that was going on. So Esther revealed Haman's evil plan. And at the end of the day, the decree was overturned. And Haman was killed by the very thing he wanted to kill Mordecai the Jew with, which was um, a wooden scaffold. So in this part, before we make a decision, you should, or make a big decision, we should pray and seek wisdom like Esther. Confidence doesn't mean rushing into things. It means relying on God's guidance. Have you ever prayed for confidence before doing something scary? After hearing Esther's story, what about Esther do you admire the most? Is it her courage to speak up? Was it her confidence? You tell me, what was it? So this week, write down one area where you need confidence and find a Bible verse that talks about confidence and courage. Some Bible verses to start with, maybe Joshua 9, 1 and 9, Psalms 27 and 1, or 2 Timothy 1 and 7. You find whichever one suits you and pray and ask God for confidence and boldness like Esther. Thank you for tuning in, and I pray that you all go read the book of Esther for yourself. And maybe I'll come back and do a in-depth teaching about it. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you all have a great week.